The number one strategy that I used to grow my Etsy shop into the 7 figures in less than 3 years was to be fully focused on the customer. Now, in the beginning stages of an Etsy shop, it's super hard to actually get traction as you have no sales and no reviews. However, in this video, I'll make sure to outline what you actually can do to get traction. So I live in Sweden and I actually only sell to the US using a process called print on demand. How this works is that you actually research which designs to sell, which products to sell, and which niches to selling using a software called Everbee. Once you know that and you've made your first design, you put your design on top of a blank image of a product like a shirt, and then you take this image with your design on top of it and put it on a marketplace like Etsy. Once someone purchases this listing on Etsy, you connect that order to a production partner on Printify, and that production partner handles all the fulfillment for you, and you don't have to incur any risk with inventory, which is super neat. Now, as I mentioned, the main thing that actually got me to where I am today is that I was fully focused on the customer. First thing regarding that, being able to actually respond to the customer as fast as possible leads to more trust, which inevitably leads to a higher chance of actually getting a sale. But when it comes to that too, they can also reach out, of course, if something is wrong. And here's where my principle, lose your ego or lose your Etsy shop, comes to play. So a handful of times people have been really obnoxious, honestly, on Etsy. You just know that they either want like a free product, they just wanna, you kind of feel used when they do this, giving you the weirdest reason for like either like a refund or something like that. It doesn't even make sense, but you can kind of tell that they want a freebie. So in all of these cases, it's really important to just refund them because Etsy kind of pushes us to do that in either case. So if they like put in a help request and it's not resolved within 48 hours, they can actually make a case against your shop. The good thing to note here is that if you get a lot of cases at once on your shop, you can actually get suspended for that, and it can be really hard to get your shop back. So before it even gets to that stage, because even at that stage it will still be refunded, either be refunded by Etsy or by you. But if it's refunded by Etsy, you might save a couple bucks or like 30 bucks or something like that, but you incur more risk of like losing your whole shop if they actually like interfere and have to refund them on your behalf. So I always keep in mind that I always have to lose my ego or I can actually lose my Etsy shop. You should never risk the whole thing for something like that. And a good thing to that too, that's really important to note, is that if you just click refund on Etsy, they actually have like 3 months, I think, to leave a review, and that can really give you negative reviews. So when you actually refund them in cases like this where they're being crazy, or you're just generally at all when you're giving them full refunds, always cancel the orders to mitigate negative reviews. Because if you cancel an order, they only have 48 hours to actually leave you a review. You can save a lot of reviews or negative reviews by canceling them instead of just clicking the refund button. All right, so after like a year's worth of requests, ever since I started the channel, I've actually started my own mentorship. It's called the Creative Seller Mentorship. If you want to learn more about that, you can find it in the link below. But it's mainly for people who want to do print on demand on Etsy, targeting the US. Another really important thing here is to always over communicate. It's really important to do that because the more you do that, the more trust they feel with you. And one thing here, for instance, is that when an item is shipped and you're in the beginning stages of a shop where you're just not getting that many sales, it's really good to actually like, when something has shipped, it's really important because this helped me a lot. But to always just let them know by just sending them a simple message saying that, hi, thank you so much for your order, and I just wanted to come in here and say that your item has been shipped out. And then you include a tracking link, and then like if something happens, they can just reach out. Basically a kind message to let them know that their item has been shipped, including a tracking link so they can easily track it. Because once it's actually been delivered, it's important to follow up and just say that, just ask if everything was okay with the item. If they respond to it and say everything was okay, then you can actually ask for a review. It's kind of natural to do it this way because you have already given them a lot of value by just informing them that their item has been shipped, including a tracking link within that message too. You have followed up to see if everything was okay, and then at the last step, you can even ask for a review. This helped me a ton to actually get reviews in the beginning, and the reviews is super important to actually get traction with your Etsy shop. Now, another really important tidbit to that too is that if orders actually get late, it's really important to not let them be overdue on Etsy. There's a button called Update Ship By Date. I would highly recommend to always update the ship by date with a minimum of 5 days, because if you get overdue orders, you can actually get reserves, I think, for your shop. And with that, they will like mitigate your reach in search, so you will not have the reach that you would have had if your orders were shipped on time. So it's super, 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 super important to always like update the ship by date. It does not affect your star seller score, but it's just so important to do that so that you don't have overdue orders. Because with overdue orders, they can put you on reserves, plus they can also lessen your reach in search until that they have deemed that you are shipping your items continuously on time. Now, a super, super good thing with Etsy is that they have this feature called save replies. So here, basically, I can go here and just add a new reply, a quick reply, and just say, for instance, let's say that I want to make the shipped notification message. Then you can just write, hi, I just wanted to say thank you, your purchase, and that your order has been shipped here. And here would be the link. And then you can do, if there's any issues, and we'll be happy to reach out. Regards, shop name, something like that. But the good thing about doing something like this is that now you have a ship notification, so you can just use this automatically when something is happening. And then you can just copy the tracking link, of course, to the order and just insert it there. But that makes it really easy to just automate the messages and to make them fast. Another really important thing too with this is that ChatGPT is so good nowadays. And when you get these really bad customers that are super obnoxious, you can do something like this. Please write a professional reply to this customer. And then you can do, I always do it like this. Item, can I get a refund? Now with Printify, for instance, here, you always, if there's something wrong with the item and they say something like this, it's really important to just get a picture of the item. If there's like any print issues or something like that, you can always get a refund from Printify as well. But then you can just write it in ChatGPT, sure, send a pic. And instead of just using your own head and just figuring this out, you can just take this, let's see if there's any issues with this. Your customer name you would put here, thank you for reaching out. And I'm sorry to hear that your item didn't meet your expectations. To assist you further, could you please provide a picture of the item? This will help us better understand the issue and resolve it as quickly as possible. We appreciate your patience and look forward to resolving this for you. This is super good, and it takes so much less time to actually do customer messages, especially in like high selling times like Q4. So it automates this whole process a lot. You can just copy what they say and then just write your own simple reply here, and they will give you a full-on automated message, and it sounds super professional. So I would highly recommend to do this when someone reaches out with like negative stuff for you. It makes it so much easier to do with that, and it doesn't take up any headspace. Now, and that leads me to the last part here, which I've talked about before on this channel, but that's returns and exchanges, because sometimes there's no like issue with the print or anything like that, and they just want to return it for any reason, even though you might even have no returns and exchanges on in your store. So my thinking here, and what's proven right for me in my experience, is that the better offer you have, the bigger conversion rate you actually have. So one thing that really increases conversion rate is if you have returns and exchanges on. I would highly recommend that, because like in my case, I've had like 1% of my orders, and even less than that, that's been returned. And in the cases where people are being obnoxious, always remember the first thing that is like one of the first things that I said in the video, and that's that you will still be pushed by Etsy to even just refund them in any case, because if they're obnoxious and they just want to return it and they make a case, you will have to refund them in any case anyhow. So I would highly recommend to just use a returns and exchange policy to just get a better conversion rate. Now that gives a couple more questions, and the first one is like, how do you even handle returns? I always ask that they just send a picture of the shipping label, the receipt, and the actual parcel. If they do that, then I always refund them. You can always just use the return address from the production partner it's being sent from, because all returns actually get donated. So this is a pure loss on your end, which is really important to note, which is why it's also important to always have a really low return rate. But in my experience, as long as most of the issues with the store is fixed, then the return rate is less than 1%. But the upside is huge. Let's say that you, for instance, do 100 orders. One of those orders will basically be a pure return. So there's a big upside to using a returns and exchanges policy, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to exchanges, it's a bit different here. The important thing here is that you actually break even on the total sale. So as an example here, let's just go into the calculator. So a Vela canvas 3001 costs 13.88 if you use Monster Digital. I use this every day, so that's why it's on the top of my head. Now, let's say that you are, for instance, you are pricing your item at $24.99. No, sorry, $24.99. That means that you made $8 profit. If someone would actually like to say, I bought the wrong shirt color, can I exchange this? So the important thing here is that you don't lose more than $8. The best way to do that is to offer them a replacement fee. So this is just a fee to cover the cost of the new item and just to ensuring that you're breaking even on the sale in total. So it has to be super cheap in order to make sense, but you can't lose money on it because that means that you're on the customer itself, you're going negative, and you should never do that. So if you sell an item, a shirt for instance, for $24.99, and this is the cost for the customer, including shipping, whether you're doing free shipping or paid shipping, you can basically here lose $8 in profit, which means that you can basically then do a replacement fee for about $10 or maybe even $12. Because remember, you made $8 in profit, and on the exchange, as long as you are this would be the maximum amount probably that you actually could use for the replacement fee, because then you're breaking even in total on both sales, on both the replacement fee plus the original sale, because you're subtracting the profit from the original sale here. But I would recommend keeping it at $12 maybe. Then you're not losing too much profit, and you're still green on the total sales, on the whole sale to the specific customer in total. So that's how you would basically handle an exchange. You provide them with a replacement fee, and you ensure that you're breaking even on the total sales of both the replacement fee plus the original sale. And you do that by seeing how much profit you made from the first sale, and then knowing that you can go minus as much profit as you made from the first sale. So in this case, if I sold my item at $24.99, I made $8.27 in profit, and doing a replacement fee would basically mean that I would lose $3.5 on that sale, but basically I would still make $4.5 in profit on the sale in total, because I still had the original sale and that profit in mind. So that's how I go about exchanges to make them easy and sustainable, most importantly. And now, as I mentioned previously as well, if there's any type of defect with a product, you can always just ask for a picture from the customer. And in most times with Printify, you can just submit them to support agents, and they will 99.9% of the time just give you a refund for the issue. And once you have that, you can refund the customer, and then you're breaking even on the sale. But remember, always cancel the order to mitigate any bad reviews, because if you cancel them, they have 48 hours to leave a review. Whereas if you just plainly refund them, I think they have 3 months to leave a review. So using the cancel feature is a lot better when dealing with negative customers and negative experiences on Etsy.